We're still in the midst of the FedEx Cup playoffs, but for this week's Golf Plus Digital bonus question, we're looking ahead to the Ryder Cup. Joining me, Alan Bastable of Golf Magazine. And Alan, question for you is the Ryder Cup the ultimate TV viewing experience in all of golf?
It's certainly up there. There's no question about that. You got to put it in top 2 or 3, I would say. I would say the issue with the Ryder Cup potentially is heading into singles. If it's not like a 2 or 3 point margin, it's very, very hard, as we know, to get out of a hole. I know it happened last. I know it happened last year. I know it happened in '99, where both teams, both Europe and U.S., came back from 4 points down. But there is potential for a very anticlimactic Sunday, which you don't typically see at the majors, especially not at the Masters, which I'm sure you might make the case for. But with that said, the Ryder Cup is pretty much as good as it gets as far as the first 2 days. I would say it's tough to rival. It's
definitely something that we are able to look forward to because it's not an annual event. It's only a biannual event.
Right.
So that is, a mark in its favor. But when you think about each of the major championships, then you have the President's Cup and the Ryder Cup. I would say the Ryder Cup has to be right up there with the Masters and the U.S. Open for me. Yeah. But because the Ryder Cup is just around the corner, I'm gonna give it that extra oomph at this point and say that's #1 for me. No question, especially when it's overseas, because the weather can become such a factor. I mean, I'm looking forward to some intense wind and rain and hopefully a good battle in Scotland.
And no mention of the PGA Championship.
Well,
I would argue, I know it's sort of the ugly stepchild of the majors, but if you look at the last 6, 7 years, I would argue the PGA has been certainly more exciting than the U.S. Open, probably not the Masters. And I agree, the Ryder Cup, because it's only every 2 years, sort of like the World Cup or the Olympics, it's sort of in a class of its own where hype builds over 2 years. But the PGA has been really, really strong. A lot of that, I would say, has been probably more courageous course choices, places like Kiawah Island, Whistling Straits, a little more exotic than maybe some of the U.S. Open locations. Doesn't hurt that Rory McIlroy's won 2 of the last 3. But you think about Keegan Bradley, Jason Duffner battle, Wai Yang beating Tiger. Remember that Harrington-Sergio battle back in 2008. So it's been a good run for the PGA. I would argue the last really exciting U.S. Open was 2008 with Tiger at Torrey Pines. So strong case can be made for the PGA.
Well, this may be veering a little bit off topic, but just recently we heard that Drew Brees is planning some elective surgery perhaps next year right in front of the Masters Sunday. Little surgery on Saturday so he can sit around to watch the Sunday Masters play. Now, obviously, this is a surgery he has to plan
it's a vasectomy for those of you at home. Jessica's treating this very delicately.
It's a delicate topic. Yeah, let's be honest.
Yeah, so the quote was, he said, hey, my friends have told me if you're going to have this procedure done, Masters Saturday is the time to do it, because then you have this all-day Sunday to sit around and recuperate as you're watching the Masters. I would say you could just tell, hey, honey, I've got a bout of food poisoning. I don't think you have to go have a vasectomy to watch the Masters, but that speaks to obviously how popular that event is.
Well, and of course he couldn't choose the Ryder Cup necessarily during football season, but he didn't choose the U.S. Open. He did choose Masters Sunday, so I guess that's a point in Augusta's favor.
No question.